Hi, this is Greg McLaughlin from the Rebel Base Card Podcast, and you are listening to Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
In 1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All of it.
One of resistance,
We are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
rebellion,
Rebellion is built on hope.
and redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome this week to another fantastic episode of Star Wars Reactions. We got a lot of things to talk about as we are sitting down to share our reactions to the final two episodes of the first season of Maul Shadow Lord. It is going to be, it's loaded. It's loaded. And by the end of the episode, you'll hear a hot take from me that will blow your mind. So let's get the introductions out of the way and get the party started. My name is Aaron Harrison. Joining me, he's the man, the myth, the legend, the Han to my Luke, the David Motters. David, brother, what's up?
What's up, my brother? Well, hey, I am really ready to react and go over these two episodes. And you just surprised me there with you're saying a hot take to blow our minds. I have not heard this, I don't think.
Oh, you heard it in our chat the other day.
Oh, okay. All right.
You heard it in our chat the other day. And,
All right. Well,
so,
then everyone will have to just wait.
absolutely.
But no, I'm ready to react. Looking forward to covering these two episodes. This is what we call in recording. This is shooting fish in a barrel. There's so much good stuff. It's versus trying to find stuff, right, buddy? So this is both these are chock full of stuff. They finish so strong, and yeah, ready to react with you.
Absolutely. And I'm going to preface all before we jump into everything. Preface this by saying there is so much that happened in these two episodes. If we were to go and discuss every little thing that happened, we would have a month's worth of shows. So there will be stuff that we skip over. There will be stuff that happens that we'll breeze past or mention in passing. It's not because it's not important. It's just because time constraints. But there's so much great stuff in these two episodes. Chapter 9 was entitled Strange Allies, directed by Stuart Lee, written by Christopher Yost. In this episode, trust is tested as a newly forged allies navigate to the only way out.
Yes.
And in chapter 10, entitled The Dark Lord, this was the season finale episode, directed by my favorite name in the whole world, Nate Villanueva, written by, of course, they get my favorite name and my most difficult name in the same episode. So directed by Nate Villanueva, written by Matt Michnovitz and Brad Rao. This episode, of course, is one last test for Carabast. The synopsis for this one last test, one last chance to escape and survive. All right. So many things happened, so much to talk about. Let's jump into initial reactions, my friend. I'm going to give you the floor first. David, take it away with your initial reactions to Strange Allies and the Dark Lord.
Yeah. I mean, what can I say that I haven't said before, right? I've used a lot of positive adjectives to describe this series. Each two episodes has gotten better, and sometimes it's hard to land these season finales. Well, 9 and 10 were better than 7 and 8, right? And so I'll say this: all the positive adjectives I've used on the previous shows, the initial reactions, I would use all those and more to describe these two episodes to close out season one. Um, I've heard some Star Wars fans say this is the best Star Wars they've seen in the Disney era, right? And perhaps equal to Mando season two. We know how that ended. Andor 2 seasons and Rebels. And to prove that, you need to listen to what Aaron has to say about this series, and you'll see kind of what people are thinking about this. And I, for one, am right there with all these individuals. It's some of the best, if not the best, that I have seen since they purchased it in October 2012.
Very good. Very good. This series, you said it well. We have used so many positive adjectives each week as we go episode by episode, and they just keep getting better and better and better. And even with series like Andor and Rebels and Clone Wars, they have all these fantastic episodes, but always there's a slower kind of off base episode that falls in. And some people would call them fillers. I hate the word filler. Nothing. There's no such thing as filler in Star Wars. I've said that for years, even back to my Rebels reactions days. And is this series didn't have that. It literally was on fire from episode one. You start running and it goes nonstop to the end. And these two episodes did not disappoint. They were very well executed, very well made. The story and plot points were right on target. Uh, they kept building characters, then killing characters. I mean, it took us on a roller coaster this season, and these two episodes alone were a roller coaster. And I said I had a hot take about this about this series, and I'm going to go ahead and lay it out there right now for you. In my opinion, this is the best Star Wars Disney has given us. Now, keep in mind, people are like, "Oh, Disney Star Wars." Oh, keep in mind what. Let's go through the list of what they gave us. Besides the sequel trilogy, they gave us Rogue One, they gave us Solo, they gave us Clone Wars season 7, they gave us Rebels, they gave us Bad Batch, they gave us Visions, they gave us Mando, 3 seasons of Mando, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, Acolyte. They've given us a lot of Star Wars, and everybody knows how I feel about Rebels. I love Rebels. Rebels will be my favorite till the day you put me in the ground in my Rebel decorated casket. But this is the best Disney has done.
Wow, man.
They
Wow.
took what they did with Rebels and with all these other shows, and they built on top of that, and you can see the learning curve they've gone, how they've improved. And hands down, to me, this is the best Star Wars we've gotten from Disney.
Wow. The high praise, man. High praise from my co-host. Yeah, when you said that in the thread earlier this week, we were like, wait, what? And
Yeah, yeah,
that's, I see why you're saying it. I get it. It's 10 episodes. Look, and I would encourage people to go back. We did episode 243 where I did a breakdown of
absolutely.
Maul's, psychology, did a psychology corner on him from, really episode 8 per se.
Hmm.
And then these two episodes build right off of that, 7 and 8 to finish really strong and set us up for season 2.
Yeah. Oh, they most certainly did. And that's what has made this series so good. We're used to seeing these continued arc stories. We get arc stories in Clone Wars, where you get 3 or 4 episodes that it just arc together and it tells one complete story. Rebels told a story that kind of went through, but each episode could stand firmly alone on its own. Mando, kind of the same thing. Book of Boba Fett, kind of the same thing. You could watch an episode and it wouldn't, you could pick up and kind of figure it out. Bad Batch did it. They kind of arced it a little bit more than some of the others, but this, my lord,
Wow.
this literally you go where one episode ends, the other one picks up and just keeps running, and I think that's what made this so powerful, and so strong, and such incredible storytelling.
Oh,
And the fact that too they were not afraid. You get you have characters die in Star Wars. It happens. I mean, Rebels, Kanan passes away, is killed. Yeah, I mean, characters pass away. But my word, to have all these characters you have followed from episode 1 through 9 episodes start getting picked off one at a time
yeah.
in episode 10. I mean, holy smokes. I was expecting somebody.
Hmm.
I was not expecting the bloodbath that we got.
I didn't either.
It
I didn't
was a
either.
bloodbath.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, you start, you go from episode 9, not so much. It was episode 9 did a great job setting up episode 10. And then 10 was just kill them
Go.
all. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally like they sat back in the writers' room like, what are we gonna do for 10? And somebody went, I don't know, kill them all, let God sort it out. And that's literally what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was scrolling through the character posters before we got on. Scrolling through the
Mm.
character posters on Disney Plus or StarWars.com, and I'm like, they're dead, they're dead, they're dead. Everybody on this poster's dead. Up, those 2 of those 3 are dead. I'm going. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
But
I think opens it up for more characters in season 2,
yes,
right? And I think it does allow, and this is kind of what I put in the show notes. You and I throw stuff in there, like you can really focus more in on Riley and Two Boots,
mm-hmm.
and their relationship.
Yep,
Right. Definitely Maul with
with
Dryden
the post.
Boss and that whole thing and how that plays out. With apparently Dryden Boss having he's an underboss to some guy.
Yep,
Um, and we'll see how that plays out. But it really does clear the kind of the remnants of what Maul had, like Rook Cast dying, Icarus, the Mandos, right? The
Spybot.
spy bot, gets, just boom, cut. I didn't expect that at all.
No.
You know, and I could just see him slowly, forging this Crimson Dawn more with the Pikes,
Mm-hmm.
right, and with whatever Dryden Voss has going on, and going from there. Maybe the introduction. Well, no, we said probably not Kira right now, but in
Yeah.
time. I saw the clip of from Solo. I was watching it today
Mm-hmm.
where she informs Maul
Mm-hmm.
that Beckett
Killed.
kills Dryden Voss.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to watch. And then just watching it again and hearing Sam Witwer's
Well,
voice,
yeah.
and then obviously and I'm glad they did that, because just watching it now, I enjoy it more than the surprise I had in the theater.
Yep.
But watching and listening to Sam's voice really gives that some continuity,
Yes.
and I like it. I like it. It's I have to admit that the job they've done is, I think, not only helping Star Wars overall, but maybe Solo a little bit.
Hmm.
Maybe tying into how does Maul get on Malachor in Rebels? Maybe we see
Yep.
that in season 2. I'm hearing rumors of a season 3. It wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Right. Kind of have a beginning, middle, end, right?
Yeah.
And the end is he's stranded on Malachor. Maybe.
Yeah, that
That's
would make sense.
right. And
That would
so,
definitely make sense.
this series has done a lot, and I'm so impressed with this thing, man. And like you said, from animation to the voice acting
Mhm.
to the storytelling, right? We talked about it. You can have I remember. I think it was in 2015. They were interviewing George Lucas before The Force Awakens on the red carpet, and I
Mhm.
think I've mentioned this in a episode before when you and I have talked. Is I think someone asked him like, "What is it about Star Wars um, that really does it?" And he says, "Look, there's been a lot of movies made with spaceships and." Blasters, people firing, all that kind of outer space stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the story, it's the characters, right? You care about them, the Skywalkers, and defeating the Empire. And so, like you said, the storytelling in this goes right along with the highest quality animation.
Yes.
I mean, how do you? This just you can't beat that, man.
Mhm.
And you can do some stuff in animation,
Yes.
you can't do otherwise, So.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I know we were talking off the air
Mhm.
about things going on. And one of the things I had been thinking about through the week was how I've seen some comments online since this episode was released about how this is what we wanted. This was great. But why couldn't they do this in live action? And I'm sitting there thinking, if it was live action, it would not have been as good as it was. Because, live action has its limitations.
Mhm.
The sky is the limit when it comes to animation.
Yeah.
So I think with animation, they can do so much more in the storytelling, in the action sequences, because they're not limited to what the actor can do. They're
Right.
limited to what can I draw,
Hmm.
what can I animate, and you can animate absolutely anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I think that's why I think if you look at the successes that Disney has had since they took over, and you compare the list, the live action shows, here are the animated shows, you compare the list, they've had more wins on the animated side than they have had on the live action side because the, they can do the animation right. They can do the animation incredibly good. They have
Mm-hmm.
some of the best voice talent in the galaxy,
Hmm.
and there's no limit on what they can do and how they can do it.
Hmm. I
And
agree.
so I think honestly, I can see if there I can see more leaning into the animation than I can. And I think a lot of it's going to be based on one, the final numbers that come out for Shadow Lord
Hmm.
and how Mando does in theaters
Yeah. Yeah.
will determine those things will determine the future of Star Wars and Lucasfilm.
Yeah. I was thinking with all the costs and stuff, you don't have to go on location.
No.
There's no location. You don't have that. You don't have to rent places. You don't have to fly actors any place. You don't have to. A lot of these actors just work out of their own homes, the
Hmm.
voice acting, right? I mean, all of them have their own recording studios now, right?
Hmm.
Steve Blum is out in Hawaii now.
Yep.
He said that, when he was here at Ocala Comic Con, he just moved from LA out there. James
Yep.
Arnold Taylor's in Tennessee,
Yep.
Matt Lanner, a lot of these people live all over the country.
Oh yeah.
Um, and you just record from there. You don't have to fly them to LA.
Nope.
You
You
don't have to
don't.
do that. The voice
What?
actors, and directors and stage props and all that stuff, and recording studios and sound stages. Some of the stuff that we've seen
Hmm.
them use for Mandalorian and Grogu. I mean, it is. It has to be money wise much more efficient.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, and I think the fact that these 10 episodes of
Mm.
Maul Shadow Lord have been so well received, and they have been such success that it's going to prove that
Mhm.
that this is the way to go for
Yeah.
them. Um, I love my live action Star Wars. I want to see more of it, but I got a feeling, and this is my gut talking. I know nothing behind the scenes. I know nothing going on, but my gut is telling me that what we're going to start seeing in the future is we're going to see fewer live action. We're going to see more movies, but unlike what we were getting every 6 months to a year, maybe every other year we'll get a movie. And all we're going to start seeing on Disney Plus are these incredibly made animated shows. I don't
But
think
that's
we'll. I don't think we will see once they wrap up the Mando saga, the Mando Ahsoka, the Mandoverse
yeah,
story. I think we will. It will. The live action will cease for a little while,
yeah,
dude. Just due to its cost.
dude, of course, yeah. And I'll add something to it. When you look at Vader in
Oh my
this,
gosh.
I'm looking at him and how they had him move and
Mhm.
animated him and the lightsaber in the battle and him moving one hand or two hands on that lightsaber, and I'm looking at him going, he looks great, man.
Mhm.
He looks as good. I mean, I was like, I just kept staring at that character model, very different than the Rebels model,
Yep.
right? And you just look at it and you're like, wow, this is I could we like in him at the end of Rogue One. This is but in
Oh yeah.
animated form, and you're like, I could watch this. I could see him going and cleaning up messes that the Inquisitors can't solve. And but looking at that, I can look at that just as much as a live action Vader. I mean, it looks so good, buddy.
Oh yeah.
I was like, holy crow, man.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
they they're getting this down, man. And I mean, I don't know. You animate a Han, Leia, Luke,
Why
any
not?
age. I mean, why not?
Why not?
I
You
mean,
could, there's no, like I said, there's no limit on animation. If you want to tell the story of post Return of the Jedi, picking up from
mhm.
the Battle of Endor, you
Yeah,
can do it. You got voice
yeah,
actors to do. You got,
yeah.
Mark could still come back and do Luke if he
Hmm.
wanted to. But I mean, you have Shelby Young who can do Leia.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you have um, what's his
Oh,
name? Um, Spybot.
oh, David Collins.
Dave Collins. He's done Han before. He does a
Yeah,
pretty good Han.
yeah.
He could do that. I mean, there are people out there who can do the
And they've
job.
got Vader. They've got Vader's
Yes,
voice down.
they
They've
got
got
Vader's.
him.
Well, yeah.
James Earl Jones gave permission,
Oh yeah,
and they made him 1980 Vader in the
yeah.
Kenobi series. He
Absolutely.
sounded he didn't sound as old as he did at the beginning of Rebels. Remember how old
Yep.
James Earl? They brought it back to 1980
80.
Empire Strikes Back. James Earl Jones, and he's in Kenobi,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, that's him. That's Vader's voice right there. So yeah,
Absolutely.
you can do it, man. And
Sky
I've heard a
Slam.
lot of people wanting a post Return of the Jedi Luke, and we got a bit of that in Mando season two, but there's some time. What is there? 5, 6, 7 years between Return of the Jedi and first season of Mandalorian. Is it
Five.
five? Five.
5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
So I mean, you could do quite a few adventures of a seasoned Luke Skywalker with green lightsaber and super cool black outfit.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
kick
Because,
butt, man.
because anybody in the realm I knows when the Death Star blew up, the war did not end there.
Right, right.
There's still a lot of war they had to take.
Mhm,
Coruscant,
mhm.
Corellia. There were planets they had to take. So that was just one battle still in the continuing war. And as
Yeah.
we know from the books, the Empire wasn't really considered defeated till the Battle of Jakku.
Yeah. Yeah. You could animate that. You could
You
go all the way
could.
through
Oh my
that, right?
gosh, can you
And then,
imagine
well,
the
the Shattered Empire series from Marvel, when I look at
yeah.
that with Luke, Han, Leia, that was a short miniseries after Return of the Jedi. You could animate that. You could go, even further, all the way up to, Mando season, where again we end up seeing Luke end of Mando season 2, and
Mhm.
yeah, and so that would be cool. I mean, I would love to see that. I think a
I
lot
would.
of Star Wars fans would. Yeah.
I would. I definitely would. So we will see. We will see. We will
Yep.
see. So anyway, that was well off on a tangent
Yes.
that was not in our notes.
No.
But it was good. So
I'm glad
let's
we did that. I'm glad we did that. Yeah.
let's talk about chapter 9 and chapter 10 because these were, like we said, were fabulous episodes. And one of the key things that occurred in this episode, um, looking at the overall storyline that they were building, was again that continued theme from the last we talked about in our in episode 242, was the enemy of my enemy is my friend. We have Docky
Mhm.
and Devin and Brander Lawson and Riley Lawson and Two Boots teaming up with Maul and his motley crew to escape the Empire.
Yeah.
And again, we have that intense distrust between the good guys and Maul's team, where the good guys, we have no choice, but this is a bad idea, but we got to do it if we're going to survive. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think the best line was with Lawson telling Two Boots, when we get to when we escape the city, these guys are going to kill us. So
Yeah.
keep your eye out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was really an intense alliance that we saw happening here, very fragile alliance. What were your thoughts? And as this enemy of my enemy is my friend theme continued into episode 9.
I think it's fascinating. It's just fascinating, right? Because the Empire just keeps bringing dropship after dropship. These Inquisitors are relentless, like we said in episode 242. Or I think you and I were talking about it. The two Inquisitors, the Crow and Marak, are just so good, and they just keep coming and coming and coming. And so it is really interesting to watch the good guys, and like you said, Maul's group versus saying good guys, bad guys. You said good guys and Maul's crew go against the bad guys, and what an uneasy alliance it is. There's a lot of nuances going on um, between Devin and
Mm-hmm.
Master Daki, but also Maul. And so this is part of the storytelling that is so interesting to me. And how do you walk that line? It's like a tightrope, right? You're
Yeah.
walking. That's why I think that there's so much tension. I don't even know that Maul, what he's going to do, and then we see what he does in episode 10 with Master Daki, but it's a tightrope the whole time. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what makes it so good. There's tension, real tension, right? Um, and it plays out, like you said a few minutes ago, like all these people end up dying. And we know it's not for Maul, we know that, but for all these other people that we've come to know,
Mm-hmm.
they're all on the playing field and on the board to be lost, and that really makes for interesting listening. So the tension, between these two groups, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, like you said, what did you call it, a tenuous alliance or something like
Yeah.
that. It's fascinating to watch it play out, not just in 9, but then into 10.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned about the Inquisitors showing up and the battle that ensues as they're trying to escape. And this is where we start seeing people start dropping in episode 9,
Mm.
mostly from Maul's side of the things. I can't remember which one it is, but one of the brothers, tackling 3 stormtroopers into a
Yeah.
river of
Icarus.
acid.
Icarus.
Icarus tackling
Yeah.
him into a river, 3 stormtroopers in a river of acid after he's been shot like a half dozen times,
Hmm.
and he dies in the river of acid.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, come on, Star
Yeah.
Wars having people die in acid,
Yeah.
an acid
Yeah.
death.
Man,
I tell you,
wow.
it's crazy, crazy. Then of course the same thing happens to. This is where Spybot gets killed. Uh, Myrock throws his lightsaber and spins across the lake of acid, cuts him in half, and comes back to Marek. And Maul watches him fall into 2 pieces and land in the acid and disintegrate, which
Yeah.
infuriates Maul even more.
Yeah.
And it really makes a difference. And we see a strained relationship too, between Daki and Devin.
Yes.
And it's been kind of at odds throughout the series, kind of hinted at odds, but it really comes to a head in this episode because before we get to this fighting scene, Maul uses the Force to reach out to Devin
Hmm.
to create a meeting because he has a way to get them off the planet.
Yeah.
So Doc even is talking to Devin at one point and goes, you haven't been honest with me. You haven't told me everything yet. You're obviously closer to Maul than you've let on because he's in your
Hmm.
head.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of the
Yeah.
same way he communicated um, with
Ezra.
Ezra
Yeah.
in Rebels. So we see that little bit of bridge connection there. Um, what are your thoughts on the differences, but the difference of well,
Uh,
not really difference, but the issues that Daki and Devin are having at this moment?
well, you made me think about, well, and the Pot of Rebellion is covering the start of season 3
Okay.
right now. Okay. So I recommend that to everybody, Pot of Rebellion with, Vanessa Marshall and Taylor Gray and Tia Sircar, Um, am I missing somebody? Vanessa Marshall, Tia Sircar, and Taylor Gray. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Steve Bloom has been on, right? They're
Yeah.
going to, they've been getting a lot of people on. But the reason I bring that up is because even Sam Witwer talked about it at the end of season 2 with Taylor Gray, which is this idea of what Maul says to Ezra about you need to use your power. You need to tap into that. And at the beginning of season 3, you see Ezra with the holocron, the Sith holocron, right? And so they've covered the first 2 steps into shadow, part 1, part 2, and they just had holocrons of fate. And
Yep.
then what's today? Yeah, that was this past. Yeah, Holocrons of Fate. Their coverage was this past Tuesday, so it's episode 4 of season 3. They'll cover next Tuesday. So it really speaks to what Taylor Gray could really see how Maul can say, hey, you need to do this. You're more powerful. You can get things done, and you see Ezra struggling with that. And in those first 2 episodes of season 3, you see Kanan going, dude, we got to get rid of this holocron and gives it to Bendu, right? You know, Same thing here, right? If you're Devin and you're looking at Maul and you're looking at Daki, you're seeing what you're going against with the Empire and the way they crack down on a planet, not just this planet, but a lot of planets. The Jedi have been killed. I'm sure if you're her, even more than Ezra, you're like, yeah, I think, I need to start tapping into this to start defeating these people who want to
Yep.
kill all of us. So that's a hard sell at that time, right?
Yep.
For Daki. Um, I also think, again, I go back to when I covered episodes 1 and 2 with you, obviously, but also jumped on with Dan on CWK, and we talked about 2 different types of lying,
Mm-hmm.
right? One is lying by commission, that's actually telling the lie, and there's lying by omission, and that's, you pointed it out right here, that Daki's picking up on, you're not sharing everything with me, you're lying by omission. And so that puts your master in a bad spot. It puts your relationship in a bad spot. And like you said, it makes it at odds or
Yep.
tenuous or strained. So yeah, it really, really good point that you pointed out in terms of those differences between her and Maul and her and Docky.
Yeah. Oh, well said. Well said. Yeah, definitely strain there.
You know,
Now, of course, we do see more relationships being tested here as we see uh, Brander Lawson and Riley
mhm.
dealing with their situation that they're in now, um, and I thought there in especially in episode 10 there was a nice scene where they're talking and he's like, I'm Brander Brander Lawson's like, I'm sorry, you're in this situation because of me. I'm sorry. This is not what I wanted. And
Mhm.
I'm sorry for not being there all these years and this and that. And Riley was like, it's okay, Dad. No, and he made the same. He goes, but this is the most time I've gotten to spend with you in a long time. So even though they're on the run, Riley's kind of enjoying his time with his dad, who 5 minutes later gets blasted by 100 stormtroopers.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
what were your thoughts on Riley and Brander's situation and the strain of their relationship, being that he has been so obsessed with his job?
Yeah. Well, it's you know, we talk about in Star Wars a lot of bad dads, right?
Yeah,
You know, and so here, and even this starts off that way, right? He leaves
yeah,
when Riley scores the goal there. I don't know if that was episode 2 or 3 or whatever, but establishing kind of the
yeah,
strained relationship, and Brander's married to his job and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, and so I think for me it was like, oh wow, just as you were starting to see him develop as a good dad, it ends. It's like no, I did the Darth Vader no at the end of Revenge of the Sith, right? We
No.
need more good dad. You know, um, it's good to see this. I think a question that I've heard, people talking about on the Star Wars socials and other sources. You hear people saying, well, why did they have Brander Lawson see Maul push Docky? He sees it, only to die and not tell, say, like Devin, hey, Devin, Maul says he's on your side. I saw him push Docky into Vader or whoever
Mhm.
that black cloaked figure was. I don't know. What's that about? So some people are surmising he survived. Um,
How?
I was going to say, I don't know because they were shooting at him, and if he stood up, he'd get shot more. At
Yeah.
least in this instance, they have it fade into mist.
Well, yeah,
But
because they're not going to show a guy get shot a
yeah,
hundred times by a squad of troopers. Um,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Tech had a better chance of surviving than Brander Lawson.
Oh, dude, too soon, too soon.
Just tell it like it is. Uh,
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I'm throwing it out there. Why do they have him see that only to not be wrong? He's the only one who sees it.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
you're right. And there could be, as we have learned, they don't do anything on accident.
right,
Everything has a reason. Everything has a purpose.
right.
Um, so the indication of seeing that would be he would have to somewhat be alive
Yeah.
unless he put a message in Two Boots.
I wondered about that, or if he messaged Riley. We didn't see it. It was during all the action. Hey, Riley, just real quick. Hey, heads up. you
Mhm.
know, but then we see the next conversation where it's, hey son, and then he goes out and
Yeah,
grabs the big gun and stuff like that. So I think one of those two, I think probably the more likely would be Two
Two
Boots, like
Boots.
you said. Yeah.
Yep, yep. You get the holographic scene.
Yeah.
Help,
Yeah.
help me, help me, Devin. You're his only hope.
Yeah.
But
I could
yeah,
see that. And Riley saying, hey, Devin, I got to show you something.
hmm
And there it is, but just makes her more conflicted probably and
hmm
all that.
oh,
But
absolutely.
anyways, yeah.
So then, of course, we we got to talk about, of course, the big reveal at the end of episode 9, which led into
Mm,
an insane episode 10.
yeah.
Um, when we have them making it out into the forest looking for the ship. Rookcast is scouting ahead and comes running back in a panic, blasting behind her, saying somebody's out there. Then she gets choked, knocked to the ground, and pulled back into the mist. Then the lightsaber, and out of the mist walks Lord Vader.
Yeah.
I will say, I will admit, I was wrong.
I was just going to ask you.
They were not, he was obviously referring to Vader. So I'll admit when I'm wrong. It wasn't old Palps. Um,
Meaning Marak, when he kneeled
yeah,
down,
when,
Lord,
yeah, yes,
my Lord,
yes,
my
my
Lord.
Lord.
Yep.
It was Vader, which was, I'll admit I was wrong in that Palpatine, but my Lord, when Vader walked out of that mist, I'm sorry, I lost my mind, dude. I had about as big reaction to him walking out of the mist as I did to Luke showing up at the end of season 2 of Mando.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it just, oh, it was intense and energetic and exciting. And then the credits scrolled, and I was mad and so happy we had the next episode queued up and ready to go.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, my friend,
Yeah.
how'd you feel when Vader showed up?
Oh, I'm just ecstatic, man. Geeked up. And it makes me think, right? Like you've heard Filoni talk about this, and he uses him in Rebels, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Filoni says you got to be really careful how much you use him, and I can see more and more why. You have Palpatine and Vader. You can't have them going and getting beaten every time. The
Yes.
Inquisitors is a perfect way to make this happen. That you have more formidable bad guys than stormtroopers, but it's not Vader or Palpatine getting beaten every
Mm-hmm.
weekend. And I think it's exciting because we don't see Vader a lot. If we saw him all the time, I wonder if we would have the same reaction.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Right. So
absolutely.
so keeping it to a minimum is, I think, what works.
Mm-hmm. And what I love with how they've been using him, especially in animation, and how they used him in Rebels, and how they've used him here, we don't see him get beat. We
All
have
right.
not seen him gotten beat
Yeah.
now we saw him get beat in Kenobi,
Sure.
but here he did not get beat. Rebels, he did not get beat. Our heroes barely escaped,
Yeah. Yeah.
which makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that was well written. And I love, I love our friend Daz, because he put it in our group chat, after I was the last one to see the episode, and I didn't get to watch it till they were released Monday, and I didn't see it till Tuesday afternoon. And I appreciate y'all holding off and not spoiling anything for me. Appreciate it, guys. Um, but there's a scene opening in chapter 10 where you have this distant shot, and you have Vader on one side with his saber ignited. Then you have everybody else on the other side, Daki and Devin and Maul and the cohort that's with them. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful shot. Matter of fact, I used it in our logo for this episode. You could see it if you go look at the graphic for this week's episode. Um, and I love how Daz put it, which is the point I was trying to. It kind of was a very, it almost kind of mirrored a shot we saw in Acolyte with the stranger on one side and all these Jedi on the other. Um, and it was a beautiful, beautiful shot in the forest and the fog and everything. And it just really put into perspective the number advantage that
Mhm.
I want to say our heroes, but Maul's mixed into there. That the one side had over Vader, and Vader still comes out on top. And I love how they show that because it still shows the superiority of Vader overcoming
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's he's into his suit, he's into his body now,
mhm.
right? If this is a few years past Order 66 and when he gets the new suit, and so he looks very, very comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
And when he's pounding down on Docky, it's not good. It's not good,
Yeah.
So for Docky,
Yeah.
for us fans, it's like, ooh, awesome. But he does, the where they have this set, the setting in these old ruins,
Hmm.
jungle area outside the city. I think it's brilliant, and to have them come in and escape by the skin of their teeth is huge, right?
Yeah.
With Dryden Voss coming in, if he turns the ship around, they're done, right? I mean, Devin, Maul, all of them.
Oh,
They
yeah.
really are, yeah, yeah. Because then the other two Inquisitors can come around too, So
Exactly.
yeah, so it is literally just surviving by the smallest of margins, and so that really makes it, believable, and it preserves Vader's aura.
Yes. It very much does. Um, Now, part of the conflict that's going on while Vader's there, Vader's fighting Maul, Daki is fighting Marok, and the 11th brother, aka the Crow, is after Devin. We see there's a scene where we see Daki force shove Marok off this stone bridge, and he falls into the mist.
Mhm.
We don't see him again after that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Was that the end of Marok?
maybe.
Because we know
Maybe.
he gets rid. We know the
Yeah,
green mist comes out
Ahsoka.
in Ahsoka, so he would have to die at some point. Because after that, what do we see? We see Maul and Daki teaming up on Vader.
Mm-hmm.
We never see Marok
Right.
come back.
Yeah, he would have to be reanimated by a Morgan Elsbeth or Mother Talzin. Well, no, Mother Talzin's been killed by now.
She's gone by now.
Yeah,
Um,
because of the comic. Yeah, so
yeah,
maybe some Night Sisters. Yeah,
yeah,
we know that, and
yeah,
that's in this. Well, kind of in a little bit after this time frame with the Mandoverse, right? With when we see the Night Sisters
yes,
and Morgan Elsbeth and all them. So yeah, this could be it, and then the reanimation at some point happens, and he's working for I guess with Balin Skull, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
good
but yeah,
point.
I just wanted to what when didn't know if you had caught that or
I
not.
didn't. Now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, that's true. And the crow doesn't die, right?
No, the after because like I said, he's after Devin.
Yeah,
And when Maul makes his escape and force pushes Daki into Vader,
yeah.
she gets away from uh,
Oh, yeah.
Crow and is watching from that upper story window and
Yes.
sees Daki get killed by Vader.
Elevator. Yeah,
And then she begins to embrace that
yeah,
dark side as she then launches herself into the Crow who snuck up behind her. And she
yeah.
does end up striking him on his leg, at which point he retreats.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
And when he retreats, that's when they make their run for the ship and they get away,
yeah.
um, which is intense. So I gotta ask you, with Daki and especially the Daki Vader fight. To me, that was very, especially the way he was coming down on Daki with that blow after blow after blow after blow after blow after blow after blow, just so violently intense. It reminded me a lot of what Luke was doing to Vader in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, yeah. And that's why Luke stops and says, "Wait, oh my gosh, I'm giving into my anger."
Yes.
Right. Whereas Vader's like, "No, I'm gonna use my anger the whole way."
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. Well said. And I think that is an homage by the creatives, you
Yeah.
know, to this, to Return of the Jedi. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely. And it is uh, quite intense. And then, of course, we don't see Vader impale Daki, but when gets to the window and looks out, it cuts back, and you see him with the lightsaber coming out of his back, and Vader then, of course, pulling it out, and then he
yeah.
kind of falls over and locks eyes with her and dies.
Oh,
Um, and I will disagree with a lot because I've seen a lot of people. It was in our group chat, and I've seen some people online talking about, oh look, lightsaber through the chest kills him and animate again. I don't know. To me, the position of the lightsaber looked like it would have been more through his heart.
yeah,
Which, if it goes through your heart, you're going to die.
yeah, yeah.
This isn't Star Trek where they're going to give you an artificial heart.
Well, you get artificial hands, but not artificial hearts, apparently.
Apparently,
Yeah, it
but
is an inconsistency. I'm not quite sure. You know, it's I'm not quite sure. I just don't know if, like I said in the chat, is it in live action? They don't want to, lop off arms. I'm not sure.
uh,
I don't know. It was Sabine with Riva, with Grand Inquisitor and Obi-Wan. They all had shots to the stomach.
I was going to say
Um,
those were more gut shots than
yeah.
they were stabbed through the heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Daki is so short. If you look at it, granted, I don't know his
Anatomy.
anatomy, but if you overlay a human anatomy, that went straight through his heart. He was shot through the heart. If
Yeah.
Vader's to blame.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Bon Jovi. um, I don't know. It's a little. Yeah, the nitpicks are, I don't know. I just think of that thing going anywhere through your torso and you are just tore up.
Mhm.
Um, in fact, if you have the if you have an appendage taken off, like Luke did, and you get the new arm or new hand, that makes more sense to me. The
Yeah.
cauterization, you're not tearing up those internal organs and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there, I go with it. You know what I'm saying? When I'm watching it, I just enjoy it. A little bit later on, there's like like some of the Mandos, with the armor they had on, they got shot once or twice and they were done. And like you said,
Yeah.
Icarus gets shot a bunch of times, still can throw three knives and then go over and knock three
Tackle him.
stormtroopers down. So it's like, well, okay, I don't know. Now his brother Scorn got the lightsaber right through the chest. It looked like that up area, and he's done.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't. I'm not staying up nights worried about this. I'm
No,
not.
I'm
Not
not
at all.
either.
I just, This is. What do we say? This is a galaxy far, far away where
Right.
there's laser swords. Okay, so
Yep.
uh, like people have said, look, I've heard scientists. Yeah, look, Tie fighters and X-wings don't make sounds in space. There's no
Hmm.
sound. Okay, fine. We love the sound of Tie fighters. We love the sound of X-wings and the S foils attacking. Getting locked in attack formation and and all that kind of stuff. So suspension of disbelief. Just have fun
Yes.
in there. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we need to start wrapping up because we're
Mm.
going longer than
Yeah.
we planned, and mainly because of our animation discussion at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about how this fight ended
Mm.
after Riley, or not Riley, after Devin loses her cool and embraces the dark side and wails on the 11th brother
Mhm.
and strikes him in the knee, and he makes a dash for it. She goes after him and comes face to face with Vader, who then just begins to just wail on Devin,
Oh,
and then Maul steps in and uses the Force to kind of pull the temple down on Vader.
Yeah.
And then they both are, then of course there's an interesting conversation at that point because they're separated by the building that's been pulled down. And Devin's like, I'm going to kill him. And she's like, no, you're too, and Maul's like, no, you're not strong enough, but I will train you.
Hmm.
And Devin just looks at him, just, you could see the anger in her face. And she turns and she leaves with Maul, and they make it to the ship and fly away. And of course, Vader comes out and looks up at him as they're flying away. Um, because of course he survived because he's Vader.
Well, yeah.
Um, and we cut to the ship, and she's sitting there and she's holding Maul's saber because she had lost her saber at that point, and she was using one of Maul's red sabers by this point. And he goes, and she's sitting there and she's just stewing and stewing, and she's looking at the saber in her hand like, I should not be. You could almost hear the inner monologue of, this isn't right, I should not be using this. Red is evil, I should not. Then she kind of clutches it tight as Maul sits next to her, and she just mouths, all right, I'm ready. And that's where the episode ends, going into uh, the credits at that point. Um, which to me, that line is the biggest. You have your cliffhanger with Vader at the end of chapter 9.
Yeah.
This is the perfect cliffhanger to just tie you in for season 2, because now she's embracing what Maul has to teach her to get her revenge.
Oh, yeah. Perfect ending. Yeah.
Perfect ending. What were your thoughts on that ending? Oh, I know you
Well,
said it's perfect,
it's
but
perfect. It just, we knew it was going that way. Even before the series started, that was kind of in the initial kind of descriptor there when you open up Maul Shadow Lord on Disney Plus. Maul seeks an apprentice,
Mhm.
and so we know it's going that way. They didn't hide that. We're just like, how long is it going to take to get there? And I thought, where they ended here versus she's fully his apprentice at the end of season 1. No, I like this much better.
Yes.
She's, you can see the progression. Like you'd hear people always talk about, is it earned? Does it make sense? Is she where, she should be? And from the start of episode 1, where she's struggling with just begging for food, to this, I get why she wants to do this. Now it's not wise,
Yeah.
right? Like Master Yoda says, but don't go down that path. But I think it's so good. And then it just leaves me thinking and having all kinds of good questions. How does season 2 look with her training? Is it Riley and Two Boots, like we mentioned before, kind of trying to
Bring her
be,
back.
bring her back, kind of be the Docky, not quite Docky, but Docky to Maul, and then if there's a season 3, do they could just have all kinds of fun with
Mhm.
her and Maul wreaking havoc, taking over Crimson Dawn, and then him ultimately ending up on Malachor. So
Absolutely.
maybe her betraying him, or Vader coming in again, and they have a big battle there, and he's stranded there. Like even Vader knows that Maul is stranded there. I don't know, something like that. So yeah.
All right. We don't speculate. We really don't.
Oh my
I, we,
God.
but Maul had in the expanded universe in Legends. Maul had his apprentice, Darth Talon.
Mm,
Kind of resembles
mm.
Docky. Um,
Or Devin.
Devin, yes, yeah,
Yeah,
Devin.
yeah.
What if? And I'm spitballing here because I'm speculating. I don't. I like. I try to avoid that, but sometimes it just hits me, and I gotta talk it out. What if Devin does actually become Darth Talon? They She helps Maul build this Crimson Dawn empire that we see him running in Solo.
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know what happens between Solo and how he ends up on Malachor.
Right.
What if Vader does come back, kills Talon, and he ends up stranded on Malachor at that point?
That would be pretty sweet because I
Mm.
think I think we're going to see.
We'll
I
have to
think
see
we're
it
going to
again.
see. Well, yeah, and I think we need to see Maul and Vader um, interact or battle each other again, but in a way again that Vader doesn't lose um, because Maul can't beat him.
No.
He right with Docky with Devin, he can't do it. Even and if she is Darth Talon, it can't happen. So I really like that.
Well, and the battle's going to have to include Devin in this fight. It's going to have to be
Yeah,
Vader versus Maul and Devin. And
yeah,
that's Devin dies, allowing Maul to escape. I don't know.
yeah.
We'll have to wait and see what
I'd like,
happens.
yeah, I'd like to see it.
Yeah, we'll have to wait. Season
I'd like
two
to
is
see
coming,
that.
so
Yeah,
we will have to wait and
yeah,
see. So, all right. Anything else you want to
yeah.
talk about before we go into final reactions?
Well, one question to you: how long before we see season two?
I am hoping next year. I hope 2027.
That's what I was hoping. I'm hoping it could really keep it running smooth and in the pipeline and fresh in people's minds
Yes.
versus 2 or 3 years, buddy.
Yeah. I don't think it would be that
Anyway,
long.
just was
I don't
curious. Just wanted to ask you.
I don't think they would have announced it if they weren't already working on it. Especially
Yeah, good point. Good point.
so I think it's already
That's a
in
good point.
production. So I think it's already
Yeah.
in the works. So I would say 2027 for sure. So we'll have to, again, we will wait and see. That's just one of the things we're waiting on. So all right, well, let's go ahead and jump into our final reactions and wrap everything up tonight. I will, since you started with the initial, I will start with the final, and here we go. Uh, I can't say enough great things about this show, and I said it earlier. It was my big hot take right at the beginning of the episode. This, true, in my opinion, truly is the greatest Star Wars that Disney has done. This is top-notch storytelling, top-notch animation, top-notch sound effects, and again another top-notch killer soundtrack from the Kiners. It doesn't get much more perfect than this. We've never graded an entire season before, but if we were, this was an easy A+ for me. I loved everything in these episodes. I loved everything in this season. It has left me wanting more, and that is what a good show does. It has kept you on the edge of the seat all season, and it has left you wanting more, and we're getting it, and that's what makes this even better. So kudos, hats off to everybody at Lucasfilm for a tremendous job well done with Maul Shadow Lord. And thank you for giving it to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
David, how about you, my
Yeah.
friend?
All right. I loved your final reactions. I really like how you gave kudos to the whole creative team. I also, I feel like I'm going to mirror a lot of what you said. You have to ask yourself, do you want more of this, right? Does it leave you wanting more? And we said it earlier when we were discussing some different points and even in our initial reactions that, it was a perfect ending and it leaves you and I wanting more. I want to see more. I'm thankful that season two is coming. You and I talked just at the end of the episode there. I'd ask you the question, when do we see season two? And I really like what you said because they announced it so quickly, right? Right before the first two episodes dropped, they announced season two. I think it's in the pipeline and they are working on it. And I hope it is next year in 2027. I hope it's not a 2028 or 2029 kind of thing. That would really hurt the momentum. But this was appointment viewing. I wanted to see it. I was looking forward to every Monday. I really like the 2 episode drop. versus say Andor. There was way too much content there, right? Even Tony Gilroy said this is going to be a podcaster's worst nightmare, and it was very difficult for people to cover all that. But the two episodes, each two built on the next, and got better and better. Like we just said, 8 to 9, or 7 to 8, and then 9 to 10, just incredible. Finished super strong. I mentioned it earlier, the top-notch writing, incredible animation. You mentioned it, the Kiners, with another incredible score. Yeah, I want to see more. I hope it's 3 seasons as well. And I look forward to recording and covering that season 2 and hopefully a season 3 with you, my friend.
Yeah, same here, my friend. It's going to be great, and it's going to be so much fun to look forward and look into this and see how the future holds. It's going to be great. It was a fantastic season. So, all right. So, with that, let's close everything out. Of course, we do want to hear from you and hear your final thoughts on Maul Shadow Lord, whether it's the final episodes or the series as a whole. We would love to hear from you. Take advantage of reaching out to us any way you can. Of course, we're all over social media. You can find us on Facebook and X at SW Reactions Pod, then Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, and YouTube, and Pinterest, and Tumblr, all at SW Reactions. You can email us, swreactions@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Star Wars Reactions. If somebody wants to talk Star Wars with you, David, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, two quick ways. At Instagram at David Motters, and then also our show socials. I didn't do a Carabas moment there. I got it. Yeah, you send you send any messages in any of those socials. Aaron gets them. He does forward them to me, and so I get them that way. And so those are two quick ways to get a hold of me. How about you, buddy?
Well, the best way, of course, to get a hold of me is through any of the show socials. Haha, no Carabas moment for me either. As well as you can hit me up mostly on Instagram now at TA Harris 121079. But you can also find me occasionally on X as well. Same username. Well, David, it's time to wrap things up, and it wouldn't be an end to a Star Wars reaction episode without the Star Wars dad joke of the week.
Let's do it. Let's finish strong.
All right, here we go. Now, this dad joke is, I love, it's a good one, I think. It has nothing to do with the Maul series or anything like that. So don't clear that out. So here we go. What was the prank that the other pilots pulled on Luke when he joined Red Squadron?
What was the prank that the other pilots pulled on Luke when he joined Red Squadron?
He got a Biggs wedgie.
Oh my gosh. That is so bad and so good. The perfect dad joke, right? It's bad but good.
He got a Biggs wedgie.
Oh my gosh. That's so good.
Oh, Lord, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Way to end it strong, buddy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging with us through the Maul series and for hanging with us each week. We love y'all. We appreciate you. Wish y'all the best, and praying for y'all. Of course, remember, it's a rough world out there right now, so you could always use a little kindness, and who's better than to spread it than you and me? So let's do our best to spread some kindness around and make the world a better place, one smile at a time. So remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
Well, what, hold on. Pistons just went up 2-0 on the Cleveland Cavaliers, so Eli's very excited. The Pistons just won. So he's been watching that all night, and so we're just cheering for them, hoping they could move on and so on. But okay, maybe just cut all that out.
How are the Tigers doing?
Oh, not good. Not good. Not good. They were loaded to start, but injuries, you never know, right? Injuries have destroyed that whole thing. So I've seen it before. You have too, right, buddy? You can have
more times than I can count.
Right. Just hockey, football, basketball, baseball. You get injuries, you're done. You're done. So, all right. Do we go quiet for a second and then I'll jump in?
Sure.
Okay.